Good to be back. It's going to seem like evening here pretty soon. Getting dark on it. Okay. We are going to pick back up James chapter 3. So go and grab your Bibles. All week, I was thinking about how I wanted to split this lesson, how I wanted to pick up where I'd left off. Leave off just kind of the juncture I wasn't really prepared for as to where I left off. As I got to James chapter 3, really thinking about verse 8, I started thinking about the consequences of the untamable tongue. I started thinking about those things that come from an untamable tongue. Untamable, excuse me. The title, and this will be the last message, just a two-part message on this theme. The title of this one is Eating at the Table of Consequences. Eating at the Table of Consequences. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. Pick up in verse 8 of James chapter 3. But the tongue can no man tame. It is unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. Doth the fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries? Either vine figs, so can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh. Our tongue, how we use it, what we do with it, it's going to yield something. It's going to bring forth something. We got to think about the tongue being a little member that unruly evil, full of deadly poison. You know, we think about that, and we think about what the tongue is capable of. We can't control our tongue with our own strength. But the tongue can no man tame. You can't tame the tongue. Your human flesh can't tame the tongue. Go a week. Each one of you, listen to me. Go 1 week. Go 1 day. Even get yourself down to 1 hour where you control your tongue. Where you have embarrassed yourself by the things that you say. I am a walking example of somebody that just needs to be quiet sometimes. All the time. And then we start thinking about how we use our tongue. God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. We don't like to use that appropriately, do we? We've got to learn to be meek and quiet and pay attention to the surroundings. Pay attention to what's going on around us, not being overly vocal. Because when we're being overly vocal, we're not taming our tongue. See what I'm saying? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with talking, but the more we talk, the more it develops for us to get ourselves in trouble. We can't control the tongue, but the Holy Spirit can. The Holy Spirit will give us the increased power to monitor and minimize what we say. Your tongue, you have the ability with your tongue to think ahead. Think about what you say before you say it. How it's going to affect somebody, what you say. Our problems in church today would be a whole lot less if we would just bite our tongue. kind of news flash that I think we all need sometimes is we don't have to talk. We can just be quiet. We don't say anything. It says in verse 8, but the tongue can no man tame. Why don't we use it then? So why am I talking about eating at the table of consequences? Go with me to Galatians chapter 6. Galatians chapter 6. Verse 7. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. That is us eating at the table of consequences. That little member that nobody can change, that little member that we don't have control of, little member that is worse than all of the wild beasts that can't be tamed out on this earth today, that has an ability to sow and reap so many things. Parents, you do a lot of reaping of what you sow. Children, you're sowing. Parents, you're still sowing. It doesn't just have to be the tongue. But see, we get so mad at our children, and rightfully so. They're not letting kids off the hook here at all. We get so mad at our kids, like, what are you doing? Why are you talking? Why are you saying that? Why would you say that? Why are you acting this way? Why are you doing this? You get that way, Robert? Oh, Leo's within striking distance of me right now. I look at Leo and go, why did you do that? And then I could turn the finger around and go, why did you do that? It's a blanket statement. It's a blanket statement. You are going to sow naturally. This tongue, you're going to sow a lot of things with this tongue, and you're going to have to reap a lot of things. But you might reap anything. I'm not one that likes to quote Scofield. But here's what he said about Galatians 6:7. The Spirit is not speaking here to sinners about their sins, but to saints about the meanness. Did you catch that? I'll say it one more time. Note on Galatians 6:7, be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. His note says the Spirit is not speaking about, right? The Spirit is not speaking here to sinners about their sins, but to saints about their meanness. This tongue, this whole thing that we have, it gets used so often for meanness. You sow so many things in meanness. Oftentimes I look at myself and I go, why did I say that? That wasn't kind. We live in this world of just false realities of meanness, and you can't believe anything you hear anymore. We forget how much we sow. Oftentimes our meanness comes from our own hurt. Things happen to us, causing us to want to lash out, be mean towards each other. There ought to be a level of seriousness for each individual in the room where we don't want to sow those things. We don't want to sit down to the table of consequences and eat that meal. Do you ask the Spirit to control and direct your thoughts and actions each day? Do you just wake up in the morning and go for it? What about today? What's today going to be? The only way to control that tongue is with the Holy Spirit. You know, you don't realize how often our children follow in our footsteps until it's too late. Out of the mouth of babes. Remember that? Remember those cringe-worthy things your kids say? Sometimes mine still say it. Where you go, oh, I don't want anybody to know that. Parents, if you have a loose tongue about people, it's always your children. Children, if you have a loose tongue about other people, it's going to come back and get you. My advice to you is be quiet. Parents, if you're disrespectful, then so will your children. Same thing, kids. There's a problem in this world with respect. You kids are taught to think that you're the best thing that's ever happened to this earth. Respect is important. Parents, you have to show it. You have to be respectful. We get to be adult children, don't we? We have parents. Most all of us have parents that are still alive, still present. Show some respect. Your kids are watching. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself eating at the table of consequences. If you're opinionated when you shouldn't be, so will your children. If you talk when you shouldn't be, so will your children. The next one's tough because it tears churches apart, families apart, friendships apart, people apart, marriages apart. It's called bitterness. You don't like what's said in the pulpit? You don't like how somebody dealt with you? Get bitter about it. Parents, you have to model how to handle bitterness. It's like Will Lafferty said yesterday. He said, I can't promise you that you're not going to go through hard times, that you're not going to have difficulties. There's those of us right now that have difficulties. Watch your children. Watch what you're planting. If you joke when you shouldn't, so will your children. I think I was a picker as a kid. I mean, I think I picked on my brother because my kids pick on each other so much. I must be creepy if I've sown. If you're prideful, then you shouldn't be. So, with your children. Kids, you don't get an excuse because mom and dad does something. You don't get a pass. You don't get to just, well, I did this way because. There's this thing called generational sin. Some people don't believe it exists. I do, without apology. But at some point, that can be broken. If you're arrogant when you shouldn't be, so with your children. What do you want to reap? Our children are a product of the environment that they're placed in. You want to see how a house runs? How a family runs? Look at the children. Look at the marriage. Look at the conversation. Look at the thoughts. Look at the tongue. Look at the words that are said. Our children today in this world, our children in this world, I put this together. You want to know what's wrong with a large part of this world? It's because everybody is adopting the same critical spirit, the same critical thinking. It's one of the reasons people go away from Christian living. You got the criticalness of hypocrites. We're all a bunch of hypocrites. There's not one of us in here that's perfect. There's not one of us that's better than the other. What have we said? What's been our theme? What's been our theme for 6 months now? Get over yourself, right? That's the world we live in, where we have to get over it. So we still haven't wanted to. And we justify it, and we push things aside, and here we are just going about our own way. It's going to have an effect somewhere. I've seen so much in 31 years on this earth. I've got a lot more to see. Being in church for almost 31 years, being around the church, being a third generation preacher, I've seen a lot. It usually becomes the pastor's fault when the children leave the church. It usually becomes the pastor's fault when the family starts fighting. It usually becomes the pastor's fault. The kids are upset. You are going to sit down and eat at your own table of consequences if your house isn't right. You're going to have to deal with that. It's not the pastor's fault when you let your child come and go and do what they want, however they want, whenever they want, with whoever they want, and then you're surprised at the outcome. I've had friends in church that I grew up with that they're not around anymore. You know whose fault it was? The pastors. He didn't preach enough to them. He didn't preach to the kids enough. The church didn't have enough going on for the kids to keep the kids in church. But when it's time to leave the church, when it's time to act a certain way in church, there's no respectfulness from the children. Whose fault is that? This all stems from the tongue, you see. It all stems from us reaping what we've sown. The price we pay for undisciplining our tongue is costly. The price you pay for not disciplining your tongue is just like the price you will pay for not disciplining your children. It's just like the price you'll pay for not having some self-discipline. What are they going to say? Sin will take you farther than you want to go, won't it? See, it's a way of trapping us and making us think it looks good. So we talk so much about our algorithm. I've been marketing for so long. I understand the algorithm. There's many of you here that are of the social media age like I am. There's many of you young teenagers here that have social media. Let me tell you something. You can hear me, you cannot, you can believe me, you don't have to, it's up to you, but it's truth. If you don't like it, I don't apologize for it. They are out to get you. They are trying to pull you in to such a false reality that you are not happy. You're trying to keep up with everybody else out there when this world is nothing but happy people. They're trying to make sin look good. You're going to eat at your own table of consequences if you don't discipline yourself. You don't know what's going to happen, but I can assure you that sin is attractive. It's the mask behind it. It attracts you. Then it traps you. Then it takes you farther than you wanted to go. All of a sudden, it just starts costing you. And costing you. And costing you. Now it's costing you more than you wanted to pay for it. And now it's ruined the testimony of life and everything else. And it's kept you way longer than you ever intended to stay. You know why social media is such a picture of that? Because if you grab your phone, you grab your phone, this was me a year ago. Every time I grabbed my phone, it was open Facebook. I have a notification and check it. Right? And then you don't just usually check it, you start scrolling, scrolling, and scrolling, and scrolling. That's what happens. It's an hour and a half. You didn't have an hour and a half. You can give it out now. Did you do anything in that last hour and a half that edified the Lord at all? Did you honor and glory the Lord at all? No, that's the picture of sin will take you farther than you want to go. It'll keep you longer than you want to stay. It'll cost you far more than you want to pay. That's what it does today. And if you don't seek the Lord for help, you're going to find yourself eating at the table of consequences. You might think, how does this tie in with the tongue? Everything has a cost. Everything we do has a cost. This tongue is the one that controls every part of the body. It controls our mood. It controls our conversation. It can control what we say, whether it's edifying or not. So how do you not fall into these traps? How do you teach your children differently? Well, the first thing is you have to try to teach. God didn't give us these children. Let me back up. We've got a lot of young children. Then there's those of you that are still children in your own way, or teenagers in those teenage years. I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to me good. what you do right now could very well be shaping the outcome of your life. You don't realize that 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, that what you do puts a rubber stamp on your knee. That what you do controls things. But how much you use that tongue of yours matters. I know many people at the age of, I've been in the same community for years. I know I started working early, and I had many people come back to me and ask that I never went out, that I went to school, that asked me for a job. I can sell cars. You want to come work at the dealership? They want to do this, they want to do that. No, I'm not doing that. First thing I do is go check your Facebook. I want to check your Facebook. I want to see what the true colors are. I want to see what the true. What life are you portraying now? How are you using the tongue? How are you using your body? How are you using what God is giving you? So if you have fallen into these traps, well, first thing you're going to pray to the Lord for wisdom. There's got to be a whole lot more praying with that tongue than there is talking with it. Boy, do we have problems talking, don't we? We have a problem opening the mouth and just diarrhea of the mouth. Saying things we shouldn't. Sometimes we don't even intend on it. There's the awkward exchange between people trying to get to know each other. It's like, oh, my foot in my mouth. Between my wife and I, it's normally me. It normally is me putting my foot in my mouth. We don't go into it, but my wife did that in a very funny way one of the first times we all got together. It's wonderful. We'll never let her forget it. It's okay. She didn't mean anything by it. It was just the conversation. But that's what happens. Your wife is now engaged in conversation. You know her now. You understand her now. You understand her personality. My wife is quiet by nature. She is not going to engage in conversation because she doesn't want to put her foot in her mouth. I am not quiet by nature. I put my foot in my mouth and then go, oh no, what have I done? Pray for wisdom in speaking. Here's a big one. Pray for strength not to gossip. Gossip will ruin us. In this church, in this small church of people, we got to be careful about gossip. I don't care what's going on in other churches. I've said that over and over and over again. I don't care. It's not important. That should not be our focus. Don't talk mean to anyone. Don't talk mean about anyone. What did I say? Scripture commentated Galatians 6:7 is, remember, the Spirit is not speaking here to sinners about their sins, but about saints and meanness. We can be a pretty mean people. We want to hear it. We can. We can say some mean things. We start a conversation we have no business in participating in. Let us stop. Let us pray that we stop midway and say, hey, this isn't the conversation I should be talking about. Call sin what it is. You confuse that tongue for sin, call it what it is, especially for your kids. This world tells kids that there's nothing wrong with them. Oh, let kids just be kids. Kids are natural sinners. So we just let kids be kids, we want them to be natural sinners. not the kids like me want to get done, but kids, I love you. I love you more than you know. I love seeing each one of you, but you're not anything special. You're not. I'm not anything special. It's because I stood up in the wooden pedestal I didn't make for myself. I'd rather be down there. I'm not anything special. I'm sorry. So don't get so high and mighty thinking that you are. How else can we not fall into traps? How else can you teach children differently? Bite your tongue. There's a lot to be said when you really, I mean, you and your wife get into it. You want to say something? I'm not no comment. You just bite the tongue. You don't say anything. If somebody says something to you, you just bite the tongue. Not can be learned. Some things are better left unsaid. Remember growing up, you get in trouble. I don't know if kids still get in trouble for this. Mine does. No, mine does. Haven't had the last word. Anybody still get in trouble for that? Boy, did I get in trouble for having the last word. I was such a smart mouth. I am reaping what I've sown. I'm eating at the table of consequences for that. Kids, it's a warning to you not to do that. To just get over it. Guess what? Kids, especially when it comes to your mouth, let me tell you something. You can't get away disrespecting forever. And you can't get away with getting the last word forever. Because at some point, fear's coming down. And it might be mom or dad in some way. One or the other or both. I don't believe any of you kids in this church are in a home, any of you, where you won't get what's coming to you. Some things are left better unsaid. In verses 9 and 10 of James, this shows in comparisons about how can we bless God and curse man at the same time. It's a rhetorical question. We all know the answer to it. Verse 9 says, "Therewith we bless God and the Father, and therewith we curse we men which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be." We can't use the mouth to bless God and curse men. You can't do both. Which means you probably should just bite the tongue some. The tongue is what makes us hypocrites. Just so you know. I remember we got a glowing review on Facebook years ago. Bunch of hypocrites at the church. I remember pastor going, yeah, we're all hypocrites. All of mankind likes to say that we do something, we never do something, and then we do it. But that tongue will do irreparable damage to your testimony. You can't sing on Sunday like a saint and act like the world the rest of the week. Out of the mouth can't be the same of blessing and cursing. That's really simple. So contradictory. The tongue that blesses God should not wound God's children, God's creation. That tongue can hurt so much. Words that proceed out of our mouth can hurt so much. We've seen these little kids here at church have their little squabbles. We've seen parents have their little squabbles. We've seen families have squabbles. And yet, I know everybody looks around the room and they're like, oh, you're talking about me? You're talking about me? Well, it might be, frankly. Just to get over it. Because you're showing something to somebody else. You can't continue to try to bless the Lord and not give respect to each other like it's due. Just do yourself a favor and close your mouth. We can have a leash on that thing by the Holy Spirit. A bridle. Sometimes I think I need a muzzle. And we can have that. You know, I'm going to leave you in just a minute. We're almost done. You want to know how to censor your tongue? I think there's three things that we can say today. That if you're a note taker, write down at the top of your page. Here's three ways to censor what you say. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Do you know that what you're saying is completely true? The telephone game? What is it, first grade, the first time I played the telephone game? They just built a brand new school in Waseon. No, it's in kindergarten. I remember it very well. They just built a brand new school in Waseon stage. Saturday before we went to class, we got dropped off at these little dots to sit on, and they're trying to entertain us, so they did a telephone game from one side to the other. Well, nothing is worse, you would think, than a bunch of kindergartners trying to play the telephone game. No, it doesn't get worse, actually. It happens in our Baptist churches when we try to talk about something that happened to somebody else. Is it true? If it is true, let me ask you something else. Is it kind? Okay. Is it necessary? God gave us 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them correctly. Psalms 141, verse 3. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Keep the door of my lips. That is the prayer. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. We should constantly ask the Lord to watch over our words. We ought to pray the words of our heart and the meditations of our mind be acceptable unto the Lord. Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Verse 5 of James chapter 3, what does it say? Even so, the tongue is a little member. Romans 12, chapter 1. I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice. The little member of the tongue also needs to be presented as a living sacrifice. So we've got to crucify the tongue. Watch what it says. James chapter 3, verse 11 says that the fountain sent forth at the same time sweet water and bitter. It's another rhetorical question. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Our words must be sweet, not sweet and bitter. You think about something you've had that just has just a little bit of bitterness to it. It's real hard to get away bitterness in something you taste, isn't it? It doesn't take much. Some of us are more susceptible to not liking food. Things seem more bitter than some of us. And I'm not being serious. For some of us that just don't like food, things are bitter or not good. And it doesn't take much flavor to not like something sometimes. Verse 12. Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries? Here of vine figs. So can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh. It's not natural for a fig tree to start bearing strawberries. It's not going to happen. It's not natural for a Christian to live in sin either. Once you've been consecrated, once you've been saved, you are supposed to live a different way. Yet so often, we don't think about this thing of the tongue. I have a burden for you all. I told you once already. I have a burden. Heavy, heavy burden. Because within that tongue is where we start to let in wolves in sheep's clothing. Within that tongue, we hear ourselves talk, and we like to hear ourselves talk. And all of a sudden, that means we don't want to listen to anybody else. We think we have something to say. We think we have something to offer. My burden is because we have such a small body, I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about not preaching. I'm not worried about anything other than guarding the body. That is my responsibility. That's one of my most important responsibilities. And when you have a group of people that want to be together, it's such a blessing. The problem with that is when you have a group of people that want to be together, you start to get comfortable. You start to get a loose tongue. You start to say things that you shouldn't say. You start listening to one another. There's a lot of active listening that needs to happen one to another here. If you are, and I don't apologize for it, if you are a person that is new in faith, new in youth, you need to listen more than you need to talk. Because there's something for you to learn. The Bible speaks over and over and over again about the elders teaching the younger. But guess what, young ones? You can't learn anything if you're not listening. And you can't learn anything if you're not hearing. And you can't learn anything if you don't stop talking. In closing, how do you use your tongue? Do you lie? Is your life a lie? Is what you're saying a lie? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Are you using your tongue to cheat? I was a natural exaggerator as a kid. Sometimes when I would want to get under my wife's skin when we were younger, I would exaggerate. All my jokes would be an exaggeration. I would catch myself in my natural state not to exaggerate. I'm being serious. I am trying to show the utmost humility how wrong I can be at times. I don't think of myself anymore as an exaggerator, but boy, I could have been. I was. Do you gossip? We can sum up this study by one thing. Do you show love every time you open that mouth? Children, I know it's not easy to want to sit here. There's a lot of other places you want to be. I know. And by the way, anything I ever say, especially to children, let me tell you something. Some of you don't know. 7 months ago, I was the youth group director at Faith Baptist Church in Ossian. A role I was very comfortable with. I very much enjoy. I love children. As our children become teenagers, and as we have teenagers today, I challenge you. But I don't say anything because I dislike you. I don't say anything that I say because I'm mad at you. I mean, kids these days need a little thicker skin, let's be honest. Because of the world we live in today, anything I say is not directed at you or you or you. Guess what? I was a terrible kid. Terrible. Someday I'll tell you some stories, but today's not the day. I was a terrible kid. I was 15 years old. I was still a terrible kid. I made a lot of poor decisions. I did a lot of so incredibly silly things that I wish I never would have done. And so kids, teenagers, especially for kids, when I look at you and I say, pay attention to me, I mean it. And parents, if you ever get upset if I tell your kids to pay attention, then you need to get yourself right or find somewhere else to go. Because I love your kids. I love your families. And I love you all. Your kids, you need to be quiet, and you need to listen, and you need to stop disrespecting your parents, and you need to stop thinking you know everything, because you're looking at a person that has physical scars all over his body, because that's what I do everything. And I preach to you, hoping that you won't do the same things as I did. And we're all kind of kids in a certain way, aren't we? We're pretty evil. You know what this church represents? It represents a lot of people that have done a lot of things wrong. It represents sovereign grace. That but for the grace of God, where would each one of us be? I could be in a lot of other places. You know, week and a half ago, I got told to go back to service after being in sales for 12 years, 10 years, 11 years, something know right now, I was going through the interview process. I was in the final stages when I came here a year ago. I was in the final stages of a job that would pay me somewhere between $300,000 to $500,000 a year. And I am so thankful that God did not give me that job. But grace of God. That's our there comes in one verse. I want you to think about eating at the table of consequences. Each one of you will answer for what you do. All stand.